here we are talking about e-bikes again. I knew my first video would stir up a lot of comments and a lot of opinions. It was actually a little bit more than I thought. So I want to make a follow-up video and discuss some of the comments that were made and discuss maybe a few more things that I thought of based on those comments. The first thing that I want to say is I really do appreciate those of you who put some good, thoughtful comments, some very lengthy comments, sharing your opinions, sharing your experiences of e-bikes. So I really appreciate that. Again, I like the sense of community that my channel brings, and I like these discussion videos because it does allow people to share their opinion, because I'm only bringing this from my perspective, and that I prefaced that several times in that video, the fact that I hadn't ridden an e-bike much before, and I'll talk about that in a minute because that was a pretty popular comment. But this is my perspective, so I really appreciate the other comments that were made and the community. Now, I only had to delete one comment, and it was a profanity-laced nonsense comment. And so, when I'm riding, I get a lot of kids come up to me and say that they watch my videos and they enjoy my videos. And so it's my responsibility to guard my channel and make it age appropriate as I see fit. So if someone gets on there and just drops a bunch of profanity, I'm going to delete the comment. I'll just put that out there right now. So there you go. It is interesting to me how angry some people can get on a subject, and especially considering it's one person sharing their point of view. I'm not putting down, or I'm not super supporting e-bikes. I'm sharing the perspective that I have based on watching the industry evolve. So let's go there. So I've been mountain biking for over 30 years, and I've seen a lot of changes in the mountain bike industry over those 30 years. Nothing changes the landscape from a technology standpoint and from an options standpoint than e-bikes. So there were several comments made based on the fact that I hadn't ridden an e-bike before. In fact, one that I got this morning, this comment says, "What a load of garbage." And then he talks about Simon Cowell, and I'll talk about that in a minute. How can you form or express an opinion on something you have not tried? So I did not title that video my experience on e-bikes. I did not title that video my thoughts after riding e-bikes. It's my thoughts on e-bikes as of today. And what I want to do is kind of build a story of my opinions, again, watching it evolve, because I pay close attention to the bike industry, and I've seen e-bikes for the past few years really be popular. And so I'm sharing the pluses and minuses that I've noticed. And if you go back and watch that video and you look at the pluses and minuses, I think you'll see that those aren't really based on riding experience. Those are based on, someone from the outside looking at the e-bike industry. But I think you could argue that those pluses and minuses could be made by someone who's ridden e-bikes a lot or who haven't. It's more of a general viewpoint on e-bikes. Now, when I get the e-bike in my possession, then I'll talk about my opinion as far as ride quality and things like that. So again, it's building a story. And I did talk a little bit about what I think it would be like riding an e-bike, but I didn't go too far in that. I kept it pretty general. So I just want to put that out there. Yes, I know I haven't ridden an e-bike. But I wanted to go ahead and bring up the discussion because it's one of the most common questions that I've gotten over the years is people asking my opinions on e-bikes. And the fact that the Simon Cowell incident was in the news this past week really spurred me to go ahead and make that video. So a lot of people had said that Simon was not on what we call a traditional e-bike. Now the only 3 or 4 articles that I read all said e-bike. And a lot of people mentioned that it was really an electric motorcycle, much more powerful than an off-the-shelf e-bike that you would ride on a mountain bike trail. So I stand corrected. I can't remember or know if it had pedals on it or not, but it's not the traditional e-bike. The other thing that I didn't mention in the video that a lot of people had brought up was the fact that e-bikes have different, levels of pedal assist. Now, again, this is because I haven't ridden one. The one, well, more than 5 or 10 minutes. The one that I did ride, the guy, showed me the different settings, and I put it on a pretty light pedal assist. So I thought that was a good point that people brought up. If you're still wanting to focus on fitness, you can use a very light pedal assist, or you can go all the way up to the turbo mode or whatever the manufacturer would call it. And so that, again, that's a good point, that you still can really focus on fitness by not using a really heavy pedal assist mode on an e-bike. One comment, some guy said that I came across as a fitness snob, and I responded respectfully and I said, hey, I'm sorry, I did not mean to come across that way. The reason that I mention fitness is because I am passionate about people being healthy. I'll just put that out there. Whether it's eating right or exercising, I believe that you can live a better, happier life if you're healthy. I live in the southeastern United States. I don't know where you're watching this video from, but where I live, I gotta be careful with this. A large percentage of people are overweight. And I base that on traveling to Europe, traveling to New York City, traveling to California, and traveling all over the southeastern United States. Where I go, when I look around, a large percentage of people are overweight or even obese. So I am passionate about being healthy. Now, one thing that I appreciate about a lot of comments that were made, they were from people that had a physical condition that prohibited them from mountain biking, maybe like they used to, or maybe like their friends can. And so I am a huge proponent of e-bikes from that perspective. If e-bikes can help someone with a physical condition enjoy mountain biking, like someone like me who it doesn't have any physical limitations, I am so for e-bikes for that. And again, those of you who put those comments out there, thank you, because it really, shows a huge benefit. In fact, I would say that's, in my opinion, this is my opinion, that's one of the biggest advantages of e-bikes. Again, letting people with physical handicaps, limitations, whatever they are, enjoy the outdoors and enjoy mountain biking like we do. So going back to the fitness, again, I am passionate about people being healthy. And if a perfectly healthy person rides an e-bike on the highest pedal assist, the turbo mode, whatever they call it on your model, as a substitute for exercising and being healthy, that's where I think e-bikes can be a negative. It can allow people to bypass working on their fitness and use the e-bike as for being lazy. So that's kind of where I was coming from that standpoint. Now, one thing that I think would be cool about e-bikes, and someone mentioned this, is someone for me who is into fitness but has a rest day, has a rest week, which I just came off of, where I'm only doing like zone 1 the whole week or taking the days off, to be able to get out and enjoy being outside on the trails and not have to push it hard on those lighter days. Again, still enjoying mountain biking is another really good advantage of e-bikes. And thank you for those of you who put that comment out there because I thought that was a really good point. Someone else put a comment about enduro racing and using e-bikes for getting more enduro runs in. And I kind of alluded to that in the first video when I talked about not shuttling with a vehicle or a ski lift. Again, I think that's a really valid point for e-bikes, is if you're in that kind of training and you want to go out and do 8 or 10 enduro runs in a day, you could get a lot more runs in with an e-bike than you could with a traditional enduro bike. So again, even though I alluded to that, I wanted to bring that back up because I thought that was a really good point. Some people brought up trail erosion, about e-bikes causing more trail erosion. I didn't go into that in the first video, and I'm not going to go into that now because I don't have enough data. I don't have enough information on that. If some of y'all have more knowledge, more data, maybe even some links, put those below because I would love to learn more about that. Now, I live in a flatter terrain state. Now, I do travel a lot to the mountains, but where I ride on a daily basis is flatter. I'm excited about trying an e-bike on flatter terrain because it will allow me to maybe enjoy riding faster, enjoying more speed on my local trails than I would without an e-bike. And I have a friend who is very fast, both downhill and on cross-country bikes. And he rode an e-bike a few months ago. I asked him his opinion about it, thinking maybe he wouldn't like it. And he said he loved it. He said kind of what I just alluded to, that, you can enjoy the trails that you ride normally at a faster pace. And so again, even though e-bikes make a lot of sense for the mountains, being able to enjoy more enduro runs, downhill runs, I still think they would be fun on flatter terrain. Again, that's something that I'll really talk about once I get some time on an e-bike. So to sum up this video, I still stand behind the positives and negatives that I mentioned in the first video because they are from a high level standpoint of watching the e-bike industry evolve and not yet owning an e-bike. Simon Cowell was not on a traditional e-bike, he was on an electric motorcycle. And finally, I am still looking forward to getting an e-bike in my possession and continuing to build this story of opinions on e-bikes as I get more into it. Go ahead and keep dropping those comments below, and please keep them clean and respectful. Thanks for watching.